Good morning, everybody. Pastor Tim Warren here with another episode of Music Monday. Today I'm going to do something different. I am a huge fan of the Hamilton musical, and if you're unfamiliar with what that is, Hamilton is a musical written by Lin-Manuel Miranda, and it focuses on the life of founding father Alexander Hamilton, and it's historical fiction. There's a lot of scenarios and a lot of ideas put into there. However, it is fantastic. The music is wonderful, and I really enjoy it. And so I want to take probably a couple weeks and just take a couple songs from there and just talk about the message that even those songs can relate to the Word of God. And so I'm very excited about this. The first song I'm going to discuss is You'll Be Back, and the link is in the description. And You'll Be Back is a song sung by King George. And so the Hamilton musical focuses on the life of Alexander Hamilton, and at the beginning of his life, when he was 18 years old, not really the beginning, but in the early of his life, America was beginning to revolt and go to war against England. And so King George wanted to maintain control of what was going on over here. And so in the midst, as America's beginning to fight for independence, in this musical, King George comes out and he sings this 60s ballad called You'll Be Back. And so You'll Be Back, it was really, whenever I was watching, it was the song that I went, oh, I'm gonna love this. And so he walks out and begins to sing this, hey, we made an agreement. Listen, this is a fan. I'm your man. You'll be back. You're gonna come back. And it even goes as far as to say lines such as, I will send a fully armed battalion to remind you of my love. I love you so much, I'm gonna send a fully armed battalion. I love you so much that I'm gonna send my soldiers to fight you, And so I love the song because it's just so satirical and so funny. As well as, if you really think about it, those are possibly the emotions running through King George's head at this time. And so I'm going to relate this to a lot of people, probably guess where I'm going with this, to Luke chapter 15, verse 11. You'll be back. Luke chapter 15, verse 11. And if you are unaware of what's going on in Luke chapter 15, verse 11, I'm not going to read it today. I'm going to summarize it. But if you want to look it up, take time to read that today. In Luke chapter 15, verse 11, a man has two sons, and one of his sons says, I'm done. Give me my inheritance. I want to go live my life. And so the father agrees. And the son goes off and, he parties. He has worldly friends. He is living it up, and then he runs out of money. And the thing about worldly friends is when you run out of whatever you're providing, they go away. And so his friends leave him, and so he searches and finds, and so he begins to work on a farm. He's eating pig slop, sleeping with the pigs, and he says, if I was in my father's house, the servants sleep better than this. The servants live better than this. And so he decides to go back to his father's house. And his father, is waiting there at the window for him. And when he sees him, he runs down the road, kisses him, he hugs him, and the son's like, I just want to come back as a servant. But the father says, no, hey, no, you're coming back as my son. Put my ring on him, kill the fatted calf, and let's celebrate. Now, within the story, the father is not sitting there, well, you'll be back. However, the father has the desire for the son to come back. And the thing about God is when we've experienced God, because see, this son had experienced God. He had experienced the love of God. However, he chose to go off because the things of the world looked more appealing. And so whenever this son decides to go off, he recognizes that without that there's nothing like the love of God. There's nothing like the lifestyle he had there. All the worldly pleasure could not amount to it, because the thing is it ran out. The Bible tells us that there's pleasure in sin for a season. There was pleasure in his lifestyle for a season, but then it ran out and he came back to the Father. When people leave the fold, it's hard for them to stay away. God has this hope. You'll be back because you'll recognize that what I have is better than what they have. And so that's what I wanted to talk about this morning, was You'll Be Back from the Hamilton musical. And it relates to the prodigal son. Again, take time to read, take time to listen to the song. I'm on, hopefully this is a video where he is walking out and acting in front of an audience, because it's just great to see his facial facial features and such as he acts this out. But you'll be back. And anytime someone leaves the fold, that is the first thing on God's mind is they'll be back. They'll be back. They'll be back in a hopeful manner. They're coming back. They're coming back because he knows what he has to offer is better than this world. And as people who are living in the love of Christ right now, we know that what he has to offer is better than anything this world can offer.